hace falta. Estoy aburrido sin ti en mi cama. Todas las vacaciones en mi alma no las tomaré sin ti. Y tú siempre me das ganas para volar hacia ti. Tú me haces falta cuando te vayas de aquí. Aquí, solitario, bien solito sin ti. Solo solitario. Pero te encontré en mí, en mí, en mí, en mí. Solitario. Solitario, mente llena de malas hierbas y ella con los ojos de la tierra. Kush, kush, no hay tiempo para conocerte con una cerveza. Pensando toda la noche pa' verte otra noche. Y tú siempre me das ganas para volar hacia ti. Tú me haces falta cuando te vayas de aquí. Aquí, solitario, bien solito sin ti. Solo solitario. Pero te encontré en mí, solitario, bien solito sin ti. Solo solitario. Pero te encontré en mí. Tú me haces falta. Estoy aburrido sin ti en mi cama. Todas las vacaciones en mi alma no las tomaré sin ti. Yeah. Solitario, bien solito sin ti. Solo solitario. Pero te encontré en mí, solitario, bien solito sin ti. Solo solitario. Pero te encontré en mí. La primera vez que tú me la hiciste, baby, quería matarme, yeah. Pero ahora no, el problema fue amarte, yeah. Sabiendo que no sientes nada y no sabes querer, no sabes querer. Esta es mi despedida, vete con el que tú un día. Suerte que ya no eres mía, yo ya no te aguanto, no. Esta es mi despedida, vete con el que tú un día. Suerte que ya no eres mía, yo ya no te aguanto, no. Lo peor es que te hagan creer que es de verdad, pero no, no lo es. Antes lo dudaba, ahora no. Y dice que quieres mi mano. Lo feo es ver que te hice más fuerte de lo que quise. Solo hay nubes grises, yeah, yeah, yeah. Tranqui que eso se me pasa, que yo ando chilling en casa, que lo que quiero te pasa, más de nivel. Esta es mi despedida, vete con el que tú un día. Suerte que ya no eres mía, yo ya no te aguanto, no. Esta es mi despedida, vete con el que tú un día. Suerte que ya no eres mía, yo ya no te aguanto, no. Lo siento, vas a pagar por todo lo que has hecho y con intereses pa' que sientas lo que siento. Ya sabemos tu corazón estrecho, que es que no lo cabe ni siquiera un sentimiento. Un sentimiento y ella se cree la crema porque está tan bella. Como una estrella se estrella cuando la dejan de querer. Tranqui que eso se me pasa, que yo ando chilling en casa, que lo que quiero te pasa, más de nivel. Esta es mi despedida, vete con el que tú un día. Suerte que ya no eres mía, yo ya no te aguanto, no. Esta es mi despedida, vete con el que tú un día. Suerte que ya no eres mía, yo ya no te aguanto, no. No voy a negarte, no. La primera vez que tú me la hiciste, baby, quería matarme, yeah. Pero
hello the internet and everyone who's following, and hello to my subscriber. You're looking a bit rough around the edges there. You've been up again till 2 in the morning, haven't you, watching dodgy videos on YouTube? Dodgy travel videos, some bloke on a motorbike going to Africa. Anyway, I'm in Santander. Got here yesterday evening. Well, it was about 5:30, 5:45 I got here. Because I left Porto yesterday, and what a great place Porto is. If you ever come into Portugal, come to Porto. It's beautiful. How can I describe Porto? It's not a new city pretending to be old, and it's certainly not an old city pretending to be new. It is definitely an old city. The Celts were there originally, and then about 2,000 years ago, the Romans moved in. That meant there was pizza shops on every corner and Fiat Puntos everywhere. But no, they moved in because they wanted the grapes and they wanted the agriculture, and they turned it into a trading post. Then after they sort of petered out, then you had the Goths, and then you had the Moors, and about 900 AD, about 940, 950 AD, the Moors got kicked out and Portugal became an independent nation. And it's always had its own level of independence, really. There was times when Spain, there was a time when you had a Spanish king on the Portuguese throne, because one of their, I think it was about the 1400s, something like that, one of their kings decided to go off out into the colonies to fight wars, and he never came back, and he was the last of the line. So Philip the Fifth, Philip the Sixth, I don't know, decided to take the crown, but it didn't last long. But Portugal has always been an independent nation, and they've always had quite a bond with the UK as well. And you can tell that because there's still a lot of UK businesses integrated into Portugal. But no, but what a great city. I booked myself onto a walking tour. At first I thought that's a great idea, do a walking tour because you can see everything. And yeah, at the end of it though, I thought my feet weren't very. No, it was really worth it. So if you come to Porto, book yourself on a walking tour because you get to see at ground level all some of the biggest buildings, and you find out the history of Porto, and you find out the history on some of the biggest buildings as well, about the churches and why the churches were built there and who built the churches. Yeah, it was superb. And then after I did my tour, I went to visit the station because you've got to go to the main station. It's just the main station, but the concourse outside, it's beautiful. They've got these beautiful frescoes in tiles, and the art and the ceilings got this Art Deco ceiling. It's beautiful. And then I went to the main cathedral, which has been there a long time. And there's a big post outside the cathedral, and that was a hanging post. I think Salazar reintroduced it. But again, that's an indication about part of Portugal's past. They had a hanging post outside the cathedral. But you can go in the cathedral and it's lovely, and you can go in the tower, to the top of the tower, and then you can go into the Bishop's Palace, which was absolutely stunning, stunningly beautiful. There's like an entrance bit where you go up these stairs, and the ceiling is absolutely amazing. But from there I went over the big bridge, and then I went to the Taylor's Winery. Now, one of my favourites, I like malt whiskey, but I do love port. I really do love port, especially Taylor's Port. And Taylor's Port is one of the oldest established companies that sold port, or initially it was port wine or Porto wine, and then it just became port. And I think it was established in something like 1697, and it's still there now. And you can go and do a tour of the winery, see where all the wine is mature and aged in its casks, and you can find out more about port. And that was really interesting. And at the end of it, you get to taste some wine, and of course that sent my taste buds jangling. So I had to try a vintage port, and then a really old Tawny, and oh gosh, my taste buds were dancing, and I floated out of there back into the city, and I had a really, really enjoyable day. But it's just the vibe around Porto. It's really chilled out. It's really nice. There's no hassle, and it's such a city full of character. But that was Porto. So I left yesterday morning, and it was about 12 degrees when I left. So I thought that should be okay, no problem. So I had an extra layer of clothing on. And then as you about sort of 70 miles later, you start heading up into the Portuguese mountains or the Portuguese hills. Well, mountains, but they're like mini mountains, really. And I think the highest point is about 800 meters, something like that. And that's where a lot of the vineyards are when you go into the Portuguese heights. And that's where all the main vineyard growing takes place. But the temperature went down to about 6 degrees, so I thought, oh, this is not very good. But eventually we started coming down again, and eventually I hit Spain, and it went back up to 12 degrees again. And it's strange. You leave Portugal. Portugal's green, and there's trees everywhere and green fields. Then after a while, you go into Spain, and everything just goes a little bit flatter because then you're going onto the Spanish plateau, which again we go down, and then we start going up, and then it's about 800 meters above sea level. I didn't realise that, but majority of Spain is on a single high plateau. But so it went down to about 10 degrees, and I kept going along, and then all of a sudden I started heading towards Santander, getting north, and then we started hitting the mountains again. Woof! It got a bit cold. There was still snow on the mountains, so at one point I pulled in for fuel. I dived into my bag, got some more clothing out, put I put a couple of t-shirts on and another jacket, and I felt like the Michelin Man when I got back on the bike. And I was riding gingerly because it went down to 4 degrees, and I thought, oof. And I saw a gritter go past, and I thought, that's not good. If I see a gritter, that means there's ice around. So I was taking it quite gingerly, going over these mountains with all the snow. And then eventually we started coming down, and the temperature started going up. I thought, oh, that was nice. But it's strange when you go from about 4 degrees to 6 degrees. You suddenly feel the temperature change, and then when you go from 6 to 8, it's like, whoa, this is better. And when you go from 8 to 12, it's like, oh, this is like a summer's day. It's strange, but no, that really was cold. I had my heated handlebar grips on on the full setting at one point, and my hands were still cold. But it was an experience all the same. But eventually I got into Santander, which is right on the coast. And I got here about 5:30, 5:45, and I've booked a room for 2 nights, and this is it. This is where the journey finishes. Well, not really, because I'm going to do one more video, which is my video to go back to Scotland. But what a journey it's been. Initially, I thought I'll go to Morocco, and I thought, well, let's take it a little bit further, and ended up in Mauritania. And then I ended up in Senegal and the Gambia. And I really did want to go further. And maybe I should have. I believe, reading on the internet, that about by the middle of January, things were okay in Sierra Leone. And by the end of January, petrol was there. But at that time, come the end of December, there was no petrol. And everyone was a bit nervous and twitchy about Sierra Leone. So I could have waited, but that would have meant waiting a couple of weeks in Senegal, which wasn't a bad thing, but I get bored and quite easily. So I thought, well, I can go into Guinea, but then again, there was no petrol in Guinea. So what do? Do you keep riding around Senegal? So that's when I made the decision to come back north. On reflection now, maybe I should have took a bit more time coming back north to make the most of the heat that was down there. But and maybe I should have stayed in Morocco a little bit longer again, because it was nice weather, especially when I was down near Tantan, and that area was really nice. But you make a decision, you got to go with it. So I headed north. But well, it's been a bit of a roller coaster. Well, not really too much a roller coaster, but when you say roller coaster, you think you're going from highs to lows. Well, to be honest, there wasn't any lows. I mean, they always low point for me really is when I broke my ankle. But other than that, everything was great. You had a few days where you get a little bit disappointed. But that's life, isn't it? Life is like that. Some days you have good days, some days you're a bit disappointed, and every day isn't perfect. And if you think every day's perfect, then I think you've got a screw loose. But there you go. But yeah, you got to take the rough with the smooth. But I've seen some amazing places, met some great people, and I just love traveling, and that's all I wanted to do. And the real reason I started doing these videos is not only for my own ego, well, to a point, because I wanted to record my journeys so I could remember. I mean, in a couple of years' time, I could be sat in an armchair going, I could be going gaga. So at least I can look at my videos and remember. It's something for me to remember my trip. But also, I'm 65, and I know there's a lot of couch potatoes out there. And I wanted to encourage you guys to get your bike loaded and get out there, because if I can do it at 65, you can do it. And age is not an issue. Age, it's all about mentality. It's all about being in there. And if you think you're young enough to do it, then just go out there and do it. And that's what I did. And that's what those are the two reasons really for me to remember, and also as an encouragement to all the guys, everyone out there, the guys and gals out there, to get the bikes packed and go and travel, because that's what two wheels is for. That's what motorbikes are for. Motorbikes are not about going to the cafe every Sunday and meeting up with other bikers. Some guys do that, which is fine. And I know some guys would like to travel and they can't because of circumstances and families and things like that. But even if you just travel within your own country, it can be done. It's not hard. And those are the two main reasons why I started doing these videos. And I'm still shocked now. And I look at the statistics on the YouTube page, and I'm still shocked now to see the sheer number of people who watch these videos. And I think, God, have you got a screw loose or something? I mean, what do you see in these videos? Except for me going down the road and me twittering at the end of each video. But there you go. But we're all different, aren't we? We're all different. So it's Wednesday morning. I've had a great night's sleep on a comfy bed, nice and snug, a good night's kip. I've just had my shower, I've had something to eat. I'm going to get my rucksack, and very shortly I'm going to go into Santander to have a wander around. Now, I think Santander is one of those places where you get the ferry in, you get on your bike or your car or your motorhome, and you just go. You don't get to see the city itself. And I had a look online, there's a couple of little things to see, so I was determined to get here a day early, so I could make the opportunity to go and actually see Santander as a city rather than a ferry port. And I believe Santander's quite nice, so I'm going to find out. So that's me. I'm here. This is my last day in Europe, because tomorrow I catch the ferry, and very soon I'll be back in the UK. I'm not looking forward to it really. The only biggest thing I have missed since I've been away is my bed, because I really do like a comfortable bed to sleep in for my back. I've had 4 months living in a tent, and I must admit at this age it's no fun trying to get your underpants on in a tent at 65, but I can persevere. But the biggest thing is sleeping really. Now I must admit, excuse me, the MT100 that I got from Decathlon is pretty good, and I actually get a good night's kip on that. But one of the problems I have is the last time I dropped my bike, which was in Senegal, I had one opportunity. I took all the luggage off. I had one opportunity to get the bike upright. And I did that, and as I was doing it, I felt something ping in my arm. Just as I got there, I just had to carry on a bit more, and I got the bike up, which was fine. But ever since then, I must have pulled something inside my arm, and this side is my sleeping side. But since I've had that, I've not really been able to sleep that well on this side, and I've got a plate and pin in this shoulder, so sleeping on this side is a bit uncomfortable as well. So since Senegal, really, I've not enjoyed sleeping that much. But the MT 100 is a pretty good mattress. But also, when you roll it up and put it in the bag, it tends to expand a bit. Excuse me. What I found is once you roll it up nice and tight, get a piece of, I have some pre-cut string, wrap some string around it, tie it, and it keeps it nice and small. It keeps it a smaller size. You can put it in the bag, and it doesn't take up much space in the bag. It's still not as small as the MT 500 that I had, but it's more comfortable. I like this mattress over the previous mattress. But no, that's the biggest thing that I have missed since I've been on the road is a decent sleep. And I suppose I've missed the odd shower. I do love my showers, and I've missed having a hot shower now and again. But that's what you've got to live with when you travel. Other than that, there's nothing else that I've disliked about my trip. Um, Sometimes you get a little bit fed up, and like I said, you just got to smile, laugh it off, and carry on. I found the number of traffic stops in Senegal and the Gambia a bit frustrating more than annoying, but that's just the nature of how things are in those countries, and if that's how things are in those countries, you've got to live with that. But and I've enjoyed the heat as well in Mauritania. At first, it was a bit of a shock going into Mauritania, heading down, and just getting hotter and hotter. And I couldn't believe it when the temperature went from like 23 to 25 to 26 to 27 to 30 degrees. I'm like, wow, it can't get any hotter. And it did. When I was in Dakar, it got to something like 42 degrees. And I'm missing that heat now, to be honest. But there you go. This is Europe. But no, there's no black spots about my trip. There's no bleak bits. Like I said, you have a good day some days. Some days you're a bit disappointed with things. Maybe I didn't do enough mileage that day, or maybe I ended up on a campsite that I didn't really like that much. But you just got to laugh with it and take the role, and that's it, and go with the flow. But it's certainly been a good trip, and hopefully soon to be repeated. I don't know yet. I keep thinking about where am I going to go next. I would love to investigate Western Ireland more. I'd definitely like to go to the top of Norway. I'd like to go to Greece and then to Turkey. There's so many places I want to visit. But I've got to save some money first. So there we go. So I'm going to do something this summer, and I'm definitely going to do something next winter. I don't know what yet. I've not even thought about it, but I'll think about it one day. I've been thinking as I ride, because when you ride, and you listen to music, and sometimes I turn it off, and you just think, and I think, what will I do next? And I've got lots of places I'd like to visit. I know that in 2026, I'm going to make a really big trip. I'm going to get rid of my flat, sell all my worldly goods, and just go on the road. I've got an idea where, but I don't know. I might change. But in the meantime, this year and next year, there's places I want to see, and there's places I will see. So, but all that depends on this stuff. It depends on the biker beans. I've got to save up some biker beans before I go any further. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and I'll speak to you soon when I'm on the ferry. Bye bye then.